Sounds like somebody else is on the phone. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I have a question for you. I was recently on a jury for an OUI case.
Okay.
And believe it or not, we ended up as a hung jury.
Oh, I believe it. That's not that uncommon.
Yeah, it was like 2 were definitely convinced that he was driving under the influence, and 4 of us weren't. And part of the thing was this was a roadblock that had occurred in Lawrence.
Okay.
And when they spoke to the only witness was the city trooper.
Yep.
And he was asked by the defense attorney if he took any notes. He had said no, which was one of the big things for me that put some questions in my mind, reasonable doubt.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, because as far as I know, when you get pulled over, I always thought everything was recorded, because I know when you go into court, it's like regurgitated to you verbatim what was said between you and the officer.
Right.
And my understanding was that maybe on these roadblocks they don't videotape any of that or record any of that, which I find kind of unbelievable, where they record, where they have the cameras in their vehicles when they pull people over, that they're recording everything.
That's right. That should bother everybody. They have those big vans that they have in the roadblock cost $500,000.
Right.
And
they call them the Bat Cave, is my understanding, is what they refer to it as.
The Batmobile, right. Yeah,
the Batmobile, whatever it is, yeah.
And was that what bothered you guys the most, the 4 of you, that it did bother that they didn't record it?
Well, that bothered me. The other 3 people that were, voted not guilty were, there was reasonable doubt that they didn't feel that 100% certainty that the state had proved its case, that the gentleman was under the influence.
Well,
the way the law says, was he driving under the influence? And I guess the thing that I was trying to point out is under the influence. You could have a drink and not be under the influence.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and you probably got a jury instruction that said that, right? It's not illegal to drink a drink and drive. You just can't be under the influence, right?
Right. So that's what the thing that hung me was that he wasn't. The trooper did not take notes in field notes, and that's the thing that bothered me the most, is that there was no field notes in this case. And to me, that right there said to me that something was wrong.
Absolutely.
They write everything down.
Absolutely. They didn't write anything down. They didn't record it, and they're asking him to testify about something that happened months before, and he's arrested who knows how many people since then for OUI, because this is the most common thing they arrest people for, right?
That's exactly what I said.
A busy trooper's getting 50 to 100 of these a year. So how is he going to remember John Doe from, John Smith 9 months later when he hasn't recorded anything? And why on earth wouldn't they record these with all the money they spend on roadblocks? Because then you would know whether the guy was drunk or not if they videoed it. It's that simple.
Plus his testimony, when he first started testimony, he identified the wrong vehicle. He didn't even have the correct vehicle, which right there, the prosecuting attorney had to show him a note. Does this refresh your memory? Which, right there,
does this change your memory? Does this change your memory is what it says.
So I thought that was an interesting case in hearing that, you're talking about OUI, that for me it was very enlightening to find that I was one of the rare hung juries that the court has. They said they have like 1 or 2 a year.
Say, caller, I'm sorry, caller, how long were you deliberating with the other jurors?
We started, it was a Tuesday evening, and then when we started that night, it was 3-3. And then we said, why don't we go, and I ended up as foreman, by the way, and I said, why don't we, take a break, we'll go home, sleep on it, we come back in the morning. In the morning, one of the other jurors had swayed, and she said, the more I thought about it, I do see some reasonable doubt.
Good.
But the other 2 were steadfast, that the cop was there, he did field sobriety, tested all this, and he knew what he was doing, and there was no way they were going to go against the police officer. So,
well, did it ever come up that if the guy couldn't even remember what kind of car the person was driving, that he might get the field test mixed up too?
I brought all that up myself. I brought that up, that it bothered me that, first of all, his first statement was that it was a Lincoln when it wasn't a Lincoln. It was it was a Nissan Maxima, and she had to refresh his memory on that. And then the defense attorney asked him, did you take any field notes? No, I didn't.
Yep.
And it was just, to me, that's reasonable doubt.
That's good for you.
It was over a year that he since he was stopped. He was stopped like last June.